All right, what's up, guys? Me and Zach are back after a long break. We're going to go over our 2022 Big Ten football predictions today. Zach, you got anything to add to the introduction?
I think you nailed all the bases, Nick.
All right, then we'll get started right away. So, at the top of the Big Ten, I got Ohio State going 12-0. I don't know about you. Looks like you're similar.
I mean, I can't see a team beating them. They're going to have that hefty feud with Michigan coming out this year after that tough loss to miss the playoffs. I can't see anybody beating Ohio State this year with that explosive offense. They're going to rebuild and basically reload is what I'd call it for Ohio State.
I mean, C.J. Stroud, definitely a top 3, maybe the best quarterback. Maybe the Alabama guy, Bryce Young, has a run, but C.J. Stroud is a very good quarterback, and I think he's going to go through everyone that's in their path.
Absolutely.
Next, I got Purdue, 11-1. I think they only drop one game. They have Aiden O'Connell coming back for his 6th year. He's good. He's better than people are giving him credit for, and I don't see Purdue dropping more than one game. Their schedule is not too tough. They don't play any of the big power teams in the Big Ten. I think they're going to be okay.
See, I agree with you to a point, Nick. I mean, are we just going to forget about O'Connell's first 6 games of the year and just pretend those didn't happen?
Yeah, I'm looking at his second half of the season last year.
Let's be honest, 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's not a real good showing. And to have a guy like Plummer come in and steal his job for a few weeks, it looked at a point like Braum wanted to go with that young man who can't throw a ball to save his life. I can't see us going 11-1 because I just think we're such an inconsistent team. But that strength of schedule is just so easy. This Big Ten is so open for us. I really think we could go 10-2, but I think Nebraska and Wisconsin are what's going to stump us this year.
Okay. At Michigan, I have 10-2. I have Michigan going 10-2. They'll drop to Ohio State. I don't know what else they'll do, but I think they could do really well this year.
I got them dropping Ohio State, Michigan State, and Nebraska.
Okay.
And I, as you know, am a very, very high on Nebraska.
Yes, you are.
My grandpa went there. It runs in the blood, and I think this is their season. They lost a lot of one-possession games last year. This is definitely a season where they can come out and be an explosive team. 60,000 people at their spring game. Note that.
See, I don't take too much stock in spring game attendance, but that could be where I go wrong.
Well, if you did take note of it, then your rankings are scary with Purdue at 11-1.
Next, I got Wisconsin at 8-4. This is the team I have beating Purdue this year, but I don't see them winning more than 8 games. They have a tough schedule.
I agree with you on the tough schedule, but that run game that they do at Running Back University, it is vicious. We got to see it firsthand, our first ranked game since 2007, and they came in and just absolutely torched us. We were just sitting there all alone in that student section, if you remember. That was an embarrassing moment to be a Boiler, and I think they'll have a similar running attack this year, go 9-3. I don't think they'll take our division. So I think Purdue takes that, but they do indeed overtake us in that game.
There were some highlights from that game, though. I think Karlaftis had a big play. That was very, very exciting.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll move on. Next, Michigan State, 8-4. We're both in agreement here. I have Michigan State being Michigan. I don't know about you, but I do have Michigan State being Michigan.
I got that too. I like Michigan State in that game. They come out with an attitude against their rival.
Yeah. Next, Penn State. I have them at 8-4. This is who Purdue plays week 1. Penn State's favorite. I don't think Penn State will beat Purdue, but they are a decent team. They're not as great as everyone thinks they are, but they are okay. So I do have them at 8-4.
Yeah, I'm getting real fed up with the Penn State overration. Every single season they come in, they're 9-3. They're the Texas of the Big Ten, is what they are. I think it is sad to see that they have a higher over-under than Purdue. And I think it's really just showing the lack of education in the college football system as far as gamblers are concerned.
All right, tell me about your thoughts on Minnesota, because I see you have them at 6-6. I have them at 8-4. I think they're actually pretty good. I don't know about you, but I have them at 8-4, 8 wins.
Minnesota, I just think they're in a good conference with us. Mm-hmm. Purdue, I think they dropped Purdue. I think they dropped Michigan State. Penn State, Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Iowa. That's a tough schedule, and I think they're a good team. Don't get me wrong. I think they're going to take care of business against their out-of-conference schedule. Having a team like Colorado in the Power 5 or in a couple years, the group of 8. I see them taking care of business against teams like that, but Big Ten, it's a different monster. It's a Power 2 conference, and when you start seeing it that way, that's a good team. That's a team that'll play in a bowl game.
Okay. Iowa 7-5. We're both in agreement here. They're a good team, but I just think they just find ways to lose games every year. They usually lose more games than they should, but they're not a bad team. Purdue will probably beat them. Purdue has owned them the last couple seasons. Although we don't have David Bell, someone else will step up at wide receiver.
And they got gypped on their schedule pretty hard, having to play Michigan and Ohio State on the other side.
Yeah.
I think it's not as much they're a bad team as it is they just had bad luck of the draw this year.
Exactly. All right. Next is Nebraska. I know you're high on Nebraska. I have them at 7-5. Even though my grandfather did play there, I don't see them winning more than 7 games.
I don't know who you think they're dropping to, but I don't see them dropping any games other than Michigan, Wisconsin, and Purdue. I mean, that's a talented team. Oklahoma, I think that's one where I'm certainly iffy on. But who's to say what Oklahoma has going without Caleb Williams? They just lost a great coach, and they lost their starting quarterback and their trashy backup quarterback in Spencer Rattler. So it'll be interesting to see what they put together this year, but I think they're a 3-loss team in Nebraska.
I just don't see Nebraska winning 9 games, but hey, we'll see what happens. All right, Maryland, I have it 6-6. I see you have them at 5-7. I mean, pretty similar. I just have them going 500. You have them 1 game under. Talk to me there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a similar thought process as far as that Michigan State, then Purdue, and then later in the season, Wisconsin, Penn State, and Ohio State. But I personally think they're going to drop it to one of these. I'd call them the low quality Big Teners, the ones like IU, Northwestern, Rutgers.
Yeah,
they're right in that field, and I think they're going to drop one to one of those. I don't know which one, but I just don't see them winning all 3 of them.
Illinois, I have it 4-8. I think they're going to be absolutely terrible this year, but they have some very easy games at the beginning of the season. I think they'll start out 3-0, but then I don't see if they'll win anything after that.
That's a bad team in Illinois. I know their football culture. They got that Texans coach now. It's a poor culture at Illinois as a whole as far as sports are concerned. So I'm not worried about Illinois at all. I think 3-9 or 4-8. I think even you flip that with your Indiana record at 2-10. They're right in that range as far as they're.
I have Illinois beating Indiana, but we'll talk about that later. Northwestern 4-8, another bad football team. They've done good in the past, but last few years they just haven't been able to figure it out, and this isn't going to be the year they figure it out yet. They still have work to do.
It's a good academic school. I think that's what we could say about Northwestern. But they peaked when they beat Utah, and I think that was the Holiday Bowl. I might have some of the Utahns on here fact check me on that, but yeah, they peaked then. They're downhill.
Yeah, they have a basketball player named Ryan Greer who's really, really fun to watch, but unfortunately he doesn't suit up during football season. So as much as I like rooting for Northwestern's basketball team and Ryan Greer, it's just hard to get behind their football team right now. Next, we have Rutgers. I have them at 4-8. I think they made a mistake coming to the Big Ten. They don't belong here. They don't know how to win here. They were doing good at football before they came, and now it's too much for them to handle. I
got Rutgers beating the bottom 4.
Okay.
You know, the Big Ten bottom 4. I see them beating IU, potentially Maryland, and then taking care of business against Boston College, this team with a hawk in Temple. And when you have a team where you don't even know their logo, that's when you know that's a win. We could tab that one down in the win column.
I was aware of the Boston College logo, but I understand. No, Boston College isn't very good at football. Okay, last and least, Indiana. I have them at 2-10. They suck. They're very bad at football. A couple of years ago, they started bragging about how they were a football school during COVID because, schedules were weak, and they won, 4 of their 6 games or something stupid. But no, they're terrible.
They were a good team.
They're awful.
I just am amazed at the level of ignorance to not even look at the -5.5 that they have come week 1 against Illinois. We're just ignoring that, I see. But yeah, I agree they're a pretty bad football team. But the fact that you're only 2 wins you're giving them are Idaho and Western Kentucky is pretty biased, I'd say. I see them winning at least 1 Big Ten game. And I have them winning 2, but I mean, I certainly see them winning 1.
I'm a big Purdue fan, and I absolutely hate IU, but when I make these videos and put together my picks, I do my best to put a bias aside and just look at the numbers. All right, so let's look at the schedules now. This is who everyone's playing in the weeks they're playing them. We're not going to go over all these games, obviously, but we'll highlight some of them. So, yeah, for Illinois, I have them beating – I basically have them starting 4-0 and then losing 8 straight games. I have them beating Wyoming. I have them beating IU at IU. I have them beating Virginia. I have them beating Chattanooga, and then I just don't think they're going to win another game after that. I think they're going to have all this hype because they're 4-0, and then they're going to lose 8 straight games. It's going to be tough to be an Illinois fan this year, but yeah, that's what I see there.
And that's a tough road for them. That little stretch from Wisconsin all the way down to Michigan, and then you're going into Northwestern. That's going to be a cold game. We know that's going to be cold, and I'm not sure Illinois can handle the weather. Well, I mean, we'll see, but I think they're going to be worn down by that game after 7 straight losses and plummeted to Northwestern too.
No, I have them losing Northwestern. Yeah. I agree there. Next, Iowa. Again, Iowa is a pretty good team. They just have a tough schedule. Like, they're playing Michigan. I don't see them winning that one. They're playing Ohio State. I don't see them winning that one. I don't think they're going to beat Wisconsin. I don't think they're going to beat Purdue. So right there, that's 4 losses, and I have them losing one more game. Probably to Nebraska, maybe Minnesota. We'll see. Actually, I think I have them losing to Minnesota.
You got to have some faith in those Cornhuskers. Okay. I mean, I got the same thing, but flip that Minnesota and Nebraska. Right?
Okay. Yeah, Minnesota, I actually have them doing pretty good this year. Their schedule, similar to Purdue, is not that bad because they do avoid Ohio State and Michigan. So I think Minnesota could honestly they could be dangerous early in the season, and we'll see where they end up at the end of the year. But they have a good schedule to have a good record.
Yeah, I see them starting. What would that be? 4-2? Yeah. Then they plummet from there.
Yeah, because they'll win their first 3, then they'll lose a couple. Then we'll see what happens at that point. Next is Nebraska. I honestly think they're overrated like they are every year. Scott Frost, he's not the greatest coach. He's not that good. He came in, they thought he was like the savior, going to bring Nebraska football back. But again, just similar to Rutgers, once they joined the Big Ten, it all went downhill for them.
Scott Frost is a savior, first off. Let's not name incorrect facts. Second off, this team is good. This is a talented team. I had the opportunity to watch their spring game this year. They're a good team. And when you bring in 60,000 people, you have that level of funding, that level of support. It's just a matter of time before they really hit their stride. And I think this is the year they hit their stride. They had, like I said earlier, a lot of 1-possession losses. If Scott Frost can figure out how to turn those L's into W's, they're so close to reaching that hump and getting over it. Okay.
I disagree, but I respect. Next is Northwestern. They're not good. They'll beat Duke. They'll beat Southern Illinois. They'll beat Miami of Ohio. But other than that, I only have them winning one more game, and that's at Illinois at the end of the season. So I have them losing everything else. I don't think Northwestern's going to be that good this year. No,
Northwestern's not a talented football team. They were most likely rejected from the Ivies at a young time in their institution, and it's just been downhill ever since.
Next is Purdue. We'll talk about them for a little bit. I have them 11-1. You have them 10-2. The game I have them losing is at Wisconsin. I mean, if you look at their schedule, it's not bad at all. So they're at home for Penn State because that would be a tough one, but it's at home. Then they're at home for Iowa, so that's another one. But I don't see more than one loss on that whole schedule.
No, we take care of business against Iowa. That's always been Purdue's motto, and
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of IU or Iowa football's father. I mean,
And IU.
and IU, but I mean Purdue, like I said earlier, just inconsistent when we need them most. In
Yes.
theory, we should be winning all of these games,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we come out to that Penn State Thursday night game and we rock the country. That's a nationally televised game. Isn't that on the Fox?
It's on Fox Thursday night.
Fox, yeah. So we come out, we show what Purdue's really made of, and we go on a nice winning stretch. But that 2-week stretch in Nebraska and Wisconsin, that's gonna test us as a football team for sure.
Yes. More the Wisconsin one. Nebraska's at Ross-Age Stadium. I just don't see how Nebraska could win a home game against a team that at that point will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-0.
I said the same thing about Wisconsin when they came into our house, and look at what happened.
All right. Next, speaking of Wisconsin, we'll go there. They have a good schedule, but they have some tough games. They're at Ohio State, they're at Michigan State, they're at Iowa. That's tough. All three of those being road games, that's very tough. Their home games are against the easy teams: Illinois, Maryland, Minnesota, 50-50. You could say if they're easy or not. And then Purdue is really their toughest home game, honestly.
That's a tough home game, though. And let's not forget about Washington State. They have a really good up-and-coming right guard in Christian Hilborn, a very talented player. I'm excited to see what he does this year, as well as a very solid left guard in Roderick Tialvea. I wouldn't count them out, but I think they will take care of business in that game. That's a tougher out-of-conference schedule as far as actually scheduling a team that will make a bowl game, unlike most of the Big Ten teams.
But I don't know why you're mentioning Washington State. I think Wisconsin will take care of them with ease.
I agree with you, but I think let's not count them out quite yet.
Okay.
They have some talented.
We can wait till week 2 to count them out. That's okay. All right. Next, IU. They suck. They're gonna lose week 1. They're gonna win week 2. Go win week 3. Then it's gonna be lose. Take a break from losing while they have a bye week. They won't go win. They're just going to take a break from losing, and they're going to lose 4 more. And then they're going to be exhausted by that point.
There's no facts with that. You say they're going to lose every single in-conference game, and I want you to know they're favored.
I can't even think the last time they won a conference game. What, 2 years ago now? 0-9 last year.
I have them beating Illinois. They're hungry for a Big Ten win. They're practically our Kansas now. Like it's time to bring IU football back.
I think they're gonna think they're gonna beat Illinois, but I don't think they're gonna beat Illinois. I think they're gonna wake up thinking they're gonna win, but they're not gonna win. Move on. Next is Maryland. Yeah, we both have them around 500. I think one of us have them one game above 500, but their schedule, they get Michigan on the road. That's tough. They get Ohio State at home, but still Ohio State, as we said, is going undefeated. So that's a tough game. They have Wisconsin on the road, tough. They just got a tough schedule this year. It's going to be really hard for them to win a lot of football games.
Yeah, they really do. And they're fortunate enough to have some of their bottom 4 games at home at least, so they might be able to take care of business there. But they're going to struggle to make a bowl game this year if they end up making it. They're going to be right on that fringe for sure.
Yeah. Next, Michigan. John Harbaugh got his first win versus Michigan State last year at Michigan State. Before that, I think he was 0-3 or 0-4 against them. This year, Michigan State's going to come to the Big House in Ann Arbor, and they're going to beat John Harbaugh. And then the other loss I have for Michigan is when they're on the road at Ohio State in the last week during rivalry week. There's no way Ohio State's going to be 11-0 and lose to Michigan at home when playoff implications, Big Ten implications are on the line.
I like what you're saying, but slap in Nebraska and Iowa, one of them is going to take them down. I'm feeling it. I don't think Harbaugh puts together 2 great seasons in a row. I think this is going to be the downfall. That was a huge win. He finally got over the hump of Ohio State, but I think this is going to be a little slide down.
Okay.
I think Nebraska takes care of business.
Okay. Next is Michigan State. Easy game week 1, easy game week 2, easiest game of the season week 3 when they play the Washington Huskies. I mean, they just fired their coach, Jeremy Lake. They have nothing going for them. They used to be a respected program. Now they're in a conference that's not even going to be a conference within probably 90 to 180 days. So that's easy for Michigan State. All right, then they'll get to a Big Ten play, and they're going to lose to Ohio State. They might be Wisconsin. I don't know. They're going to be Michigan. They're going to have a good record. They're going to be good this year.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you. I think they're a talented team, but I think losing Kenneth Walker, that's a huge loss to their offense.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they can certainly revamp it. I think they have the potential to upset some of those big dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is a kind of a team that's a real question mark to me.
Okay.
I'm interested to see what ends up happening with Michigan State.
All right. Next is Ohio State, 12-0. Notre Dame week 1. Might be a conference game by the time we get there. Well, it won't be a conference game this year. It might be a future conference game, though, because I could see Notre Dame coming to Big Ten, especially with everything going on. Then they got 2 easy games. And then Wisconsin, they're home, though. So that's easy. Michigan State on the road, they're going to win. Iowa, home. Penn State on the road, that's their second toughest and probably their third toughest overall game, but they'll win that one. And then they end the season, Northwestern easy win, IU easy win, Maryland easy win. At Michigan, definitely their toughest game. Or not at Michigan, sorry. Home for Michigan, but they're still their toughest game, but they'll take care of business.
No, after last year, they're not letting that slide again. I just think Ohio State's such a talented team. It doesn't matter if it's home or away. I just think they're going to weather the storm and pull out another undefeated season. I mean, Notre Dame is going to be, I'd guess, a 10-point game or right around there. Mm-hmm. They'll entertain us for the first half.
I think they're going to beat Notre Dame by at least 3 touchdowns.
I think Notre Dame will entertain us for the first half. And then I think they're going to fall out in the second half.
Maybe. Could you see Notre Dame going up like 17-0 at halftime and losing 31-17?
If there's a team to do it, it's Notre Dame. I could say it's certainly a possibility, but
like 2 pick sixes in the second half or something ridiculous.
I mean, the high-powered offense of Ohio State slumping in the first half of the first game. It's a possibility. And then going.
Maybe they're just not ready. Next, Penn State. Their toughest games, week 1 at Purdue. Thursday night under the lights. Penn State's favored, which makes it even more dangerous for them because they're going to be a little lacking. It's their first game of the season. They're going to be nervous. Freshmen aren't going to know what's going to hit them. Purdue's going to take that one. Next, they got Ohio. They'll beat Ohio. It's not Ohio State. It's just Ohio. Then they got Auburn. That's a tough one. Central Michigan, easy. Northwestern, easy. At Michigan, they're losing that. Minnesota, Penn State will win that. Ohio State, no shot. IU, easy. Maryland, easy. Rutgers, going to be a good game. Penn State's going to win. Michigan State's going to beat them last week, though.
I am personally very pumped up for that Purdue game, that week 1. I think that's going to be a real reality check for all the Penn State, lovers. Nothing's more scary than playing at Ross-Ade when you're favored. That's a recipe for trouble, and we know it. Okay?
If they're ranked, they're screwed.
The fact that they're favorites in that game should scare them. They should want to be plus 3.5, not minus 3.5. Now, as for Auburn, I don't see them taking care of business against Auburn. I don't see them taking care of business against any of the big 3 on the other side. Mm-hmm. I guess it'd be their side, but Michigan State, Ohio State, Michigan. That's why I got them going at 7-5. Okay. SEC football. That's one of the other portions of the Power 2. I don't see them beating a talented team in the Power 2. It'll be interesting,
especially on the road.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we'll end with Rutgers. They play Boston College week 1. Boston College is better than Zach's giving them credit for, but Rutgers will still win that one. Then they play Akron. Akron's not good. Then they play, I think that's Temple.
Now, Nick, are we sure that's good. Akron? I don't know what that team is.
I believe that's Akron.
Because the Zips over here on Michigan State's schedule, I want to say that's Akron. I don't know who this bird is, but I think we can chalk it up.
It's Wagner. And I didn't know Wagner had a football team, so we're going to win to Rutgers on that one.
They're going 3-0. We can guarantee that.
If you take all the money in your bank account and you want to make it more money in your bank account, you're going to go over and you're going to put Rutgers to start the season 3-0. Okay. Anyways, then they're going to lose to Iowa. Then they're going to lose to Ohio State. Then they're going to lose to Nebraska. They'll get an easy win after the bye week when they play IU at home. Then they're going to beat Minnesota, and that's probably going to be their last win of the season.
Yeah, I like how you split up that bottom four. They're probably all going to split, and nobody's going to make a bowl game. That seems realistic. I mean, I could see it.
All right, so that's all the games. If you have any comments and you want to call us, now would be the time to go ahead and do that. So the phone is there. Zach, while we're waiting for the phone to ring, is there anything else you want to add?
As far as Big Ten's concerned, I think we've really narrowed it down. I guess while we're waiting for the calls, we can discuss a little bit about how you're feeling about this upcoming.
Oh, we're getting our first call right now. This is David from St. Louis, Missouri. David, you're on the show. What's your comment, question? What do you got for us?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you all doing today?
We're doing good.
Well, I'm very excited on being on part of the show. I couldn't be more proud of you all. Can't wait to see what your future holds in the commentating business.
Yeah, do you have any questions or just praise?
Oh, no, I actually have a lot of critiques on your...
Oh, critiques. All right, we'd love to hear them.
Yes. First of all, I would like to start with the IU Sucky over there on the other side.
Zach, can you hear him?
4-8 is supposed to mean, like, I understand 2-10. That's even a stretch. But why 4-8? Why would you give IU 4? That just seems like there's an internal bias that is quite imminent and quite obvious for everyone to see. And it's just sad.
So Zach, where's the 4 that IU are getting?
Well, thank you, David. I mean, I enjoy critique. I think it makes me better as an analyst. So I appreciate you calling in with this complaint. I think everyone's really overlooking, at least Boilermakers. I'm not going to name specific names, but I think everyone's really overlooking this Illinois game at home. It appears everyone thinks Illinois is just going to tromp on in there and beat this team that's hungry. They are hungry for a win. They haven't had a Big Ten win since we were still wearing masks at school and classes. Like, I don't know why people refuse to believe that they're going to start 3-0.
Let's say they start 3-0. You have them at 4 wins. Where's that 4th win coming from?
We're going home and we're playing Maryland. That's where it's happening.
Who's we?
I'm just referring to my schedule here, okay? That's where it's going. Okay, Maryland.
You think after losing by 60 to Michigan at home, they're going to show up the next week ready to beat Maryland?
I think they're going to be rested.
Who's coming off a loss to Purdue and is going to be mad?
I think they're going to be rested, and Purdue's going to let Maryland.
It sounds like we have another
game
question.
like a Purdue does.
Yes. Hello. Do you have another question?
Yes. A more serious question regarding the Wisconsin update.
Okay.
I definitely think that Wisconsin has a far easier schedule than you're giving them credit for. I do think 9-3 is reasonable. I like Zach's. I think that was Zach's prediction.
Zach has them 9-3. I have them 8-4.
Correct. I just don't. I can see the Purdue loss. However, besides that, I'm finding it hard finding 4 losses. So I just like to explain your thought process on why 4 losses.
Yeah. So it sounds like some people are questioning where Wisconsin's going to lose 4 games. So let me go over that real quick. They're going to lose at Ohio State. They don't stand a chance at Ohio State. Michigan State, they're going to lose there. Michigan State's going to win their home games this year. At Iowa, that's a tough game. Iowa's going to win that one. And then Nebraska. A lot of people are sleeping on Nebraska this year. I've liked Nebraska the whole time this year. And that's where Wisconsin's 4th loss comes from.
And Dave, while you're there, let's not dog on Washington State. That is a good football team there. And I'm not saying they're going to pull out a win. They have a restructured offensive line. They're young, so they might not have it fully revamped at that point. But let's not sleep on them either. Wisconsin's going to be sleeping on them after they play this weird, is that Ball State, this weird bird team up here?
Oh, that's Illinois State.
Good God. Yeah, so they're going to start 1-0. They're going to be sleeping on this Washington State football team. So I think they could certainly see a loss there, but I'm with you that it's going to be 9-3. I think that strength of schedule is a little bit easier than everyone's letting on, and they'll take care of business at Iowa. Or no, that would be, at Iowa.
All right. Thank you to the people who called in. Thank you for the people who watched the whole time. Thank you for the people who watched for 1 second. We're glad you could all join us today. We will be back at some point during the football season to talk about how our predictions are looking and if we're going to change anything for the rest of the season. We will obviously be with you every College Game Day Saturday during basketball season. But until next time, that's all we got. So thanks for coming. And we're glad. Next time, we'll always take callers, too. Next time, more callers. We can only get to one today. But hopefully, we can answer more of your questions next time. Thank you.